In the year 1988, we got our very first glimpse of my favorite slasher villain of all time, Chucky. And with 1988 being over 3 decades ago, we've obviously gotten a lot of films since then. Some of them have been really good, and some of them not so much. Welcome back to the channel, my name is Haydxn, and today we are going to be ranking all of the films in the Child's Play franchise from worst to best. I do want to say before we get into this, I'm not going to be including the TV series in this because I feel that that deserves its own video apart from the movies in the franchise. So we'll get into the TV series and each season of that a little bit later on. This video is just going to be movies strictly. So go ahead, grab a snack, grab a drink, sit tight, and let's get into it. So up first, for the absolute worst movie in this franchise, I'm gonna go with the 2019 Child's Play remake. Now, a lot of people don't even know that this movie was remade or that it exists, and honestly, let's keep it that way. After everything that the franchise has done and been through, this was not the way to go. This movie tried to put a modern spin on things, a lot like how Megan was a movie about a doll who was controlled by like these computer sources and all of these evil components. They tried to do the same thing with Chucky. But the thing about Chucky is that he is possessed by an actual serial killer. He wasn't just made in some crazy lab to be evil and do bad things. I didn't like that that's the route that they went with this movie. I much prefer the classic Chucky that is possessed by Charles Lee Ray. But instead of going that route, Chucky is just a bad computer component that just went crazy. Instead of good guys, Chucky was made by a company called Buddy, and they were in Vietnam, and a guy that was working on the doll was sick of getting verbally abused by his boss, and so he disabled all of the safety protocols in the doll before he shipped it out. So as the movies go, Chucky is given to Andy, they form a friendship, but in this movie he wants to hurt anything that even gets close to Andy. So instead of hurting Andy, anything that either inflicts pain or makes Andy upset, the Buddy doll, aka the Chucky doll, is what's gonna take it out. That's another big difference from the original Child's Play. As the movie goes on, we do get some decent kills, but it's not enough to warrant needing this movie at all. In the end, the Chucky doll is killed, but before the movie goes off, we see that another doll in a box has some lights inside of its eyes. It lights up red, basically saying that Chucky transformed his AI into another doll. I think that this was by far the worst mistake in the Child's Play franchise to try and reboot the film. Not only was it a mistake to reboot it, but it was a mistake to go about it in the way they did with trying to make Chucky this AI doll who had some crazy computer parts, and that's the reason he's going crazy. 0 out of 10, terrible move. That is the worst movie in the franchise. A close second for worst movie in the franchise for me personally would be the 2017 Cult of Chucky. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this is a bad movie, but after years of seeing Chucky act alone, it's kind of weird that he now has like 3, 4, 5 different dolls of himself going out and carrying out the tasks that Chucky was doing by himself. This film essentially follows Nika's journey through a mental hospital, and Nika was a character that we were introduced in just the film before in Curse of Chucky. Chucky basically finds a way to infiltrate the mental facility, and he goes on a rampage in there. Typical Chucky behavior. This movie is so weird. It's so weird. This is where we find out that Chucky can basically splinter himself into multiple dolls, so there's like 3 or 4 different Chuckies running around. You can't catch one because there's another one in the other room, and even when you catch that one, here's another one. It's just really weird. I think the idea of Chucky being able to possess other dolls was explained and went about in a much better way in the Chucky TV series, but I don't really like the way that they made it happen in the Cult of Chucky movie. So just for that, and because it just really wasn't the most entertaining Chucky movie, I say that's a second worst on the list. I'm gonna get some heat for the third worst movie on this list. I already know it. After Cult of Chucky, I have to say that my third least favorite and worst movie in the franchise is Child's Play 3. After the greatness of Child's Play 1 and 2, Child's Play 3 felt so gimmicky it was unreal. The little kid Andy from the original Child's Play movies is all grown up now. He's a 16-year-old, he's at a military boot camp, and of course Chucky finds his way in there. They try to pass Chucky on to another kid to possess his soul because he can only possess the soul of the first person who found out his true identity. It's just not cool. It's very cheesy to me. I think the best part of the movie is when the movie ends. Okay, I don't mean it like that. I mean like the ending sequence of the movie. They don't have the original Andy come back to reprise his role because this movie was made just a few years after Child's Play 2 when Andy was still a kid, but they tried to play it off as Andy was a 16-year-old now. Out of everything they could have done with Child's Play 3, I wish this wasn't it. Like I said, the original and Child's Play 2 are such good movies. The third one just felt really lackluster. So for me, that is the third worst on the list by far. If I had to go with a fourth worst movie in the Child's Play franchise, I'm gonna give it to Seed of Chucky. I do not like the Glenn doll. I don't like the way they play in the movies. I don't like the way they fit into the whole sequences of everything. I don't like the way they look. Nothing about it. I do not like Glenn or Glenda. So naturally, this movie was a hard watch for me. This was also made during the time when horror movies were just turning really cheesy and they just wanted nothing but a bunch of nude scenes and stupid jokes. They made Chucky look really weak and weird in a lot of these scenes, and I just wasn't really vibing with it. You have the curse of a god inside of your doll body, and you're worried about reproducing children. I don't know. I have no clue. All this on top of the fact that Jennifer Tilly comes back to play herself as an actress and not the woman who was transformed into the Tiffany doll. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm not vibing with it. I didn't like it. But compared to others on the list, it was generally a better movie, I guess. Obviously, if that is the fourth worst movie on the list, then I have to go with the fifth worst being Bride of Chucky. Now, I'm not saying that this movie just wasn't good or that it was stupid or that it sucked, but compared to the others that are placed above it, it just wasn't as good as them. Getting introduced to a new doll in Tiffany was really cool, and I really liked the idea. This was also when we were introduced to the whole Scarface Chucky, which is obviously the coolest Chucky look that we have ever gotten. It's actually on my shirt. I got this shirt from my parents. It's really cool. I just want to say shout out to them. But Bride of Chucky just didn't really overall do it for me. Again, this was kind of around the time when stuff started getting cheesy, so I didn't really like how they were making everything seem like a joke after we seen this killer doll go on a rampage. He was really scary and strong. I just didn't really like it. But as a movie and as a concept, I thought that it was really cool. Right above that movie, we start getting into the top 3 best movies in the franchise, and for number 3, I am going to go with Curse of Chucky. In this 2013 film, we are introduced to Nika, who plays a really big role here in every movie and TV series after. This is the first time Chucky returned to a movie in 9 years. And with this, they brought back the brutality and the creepiness of all of the original films. So obviously, it's a favorite for me. We get a lot of weird backstory on Chucky when he was still Charles Lee Ray before he transformed into the doll. A lot of things start kind of piecing together and making more sense the further we get in this movie, and I really like that. It also helped understand everything after, like Cult of Chucky and the TV series. So without this movie, we wouldn't have made it to the year 2024 still getting Chucky franchise films, TV shows, everything. Top 3 easily, without a doubt. Number 2, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to the original Child's Play movie. Like I said, this was the first time we had ever seen Chucky, and it's the first time we had ever seen a slasher quite like this. Instead of just some guy in a mask, it was a serial killer who made his soul go into the body of a doll. This was the movie that scared me as a kid. This movie was incredible from top to bottom. It was especially ahead of its time, and this is also where it's explained that if Chucky wants to get out of his doll body, he needs to find a human to transport his soul into, and that's why he goes after Andy in the first place. It is a really good movie, like I said, from top to bottom, and it is easily the second best in the franchise. Obviously, that leaves one more movie for the number 1 spot, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Child's Play 2. This is without a doubt the best film in the entire Child's Play franchise. This movie follows Andy, who is now in foster care, but in foster care, he gets a sister named Kyle. The chemistry between the siblings, the kill scenes, everything about it was awesome. The ending scene in the Good Guys production facility where they finally kill Chucky and walk out and it's daytime, and we get this incredible shot of Andy and Kyle leaving the building. It's so good. The scene with Miss Kettlewell, chef's kiss. I said that Child's Play was the movie that scared me as a child, but now that I think of it, I think that Child's Play 2 was probably the one that did it for me. This movie is so good. This movie is so good. Child's Play 2 is the movie that actually inspired me to get my own Good Guys doll right behind me, which is from Trick or Treat Studios. Go check that out. Everything about it, incredible, 10 out of 10, one of the best slasher movies of all time, and the best slasher movie in the Chucky franchise. So just to give it a little rundown from top to bottom, we have Child's Play 2 in the number 1 spot, followed by the original 1988 Child's Play movie. Then it goes to Curse of Chucky, followed by Bride and Seed of Chucky, leaving the bottom 2 Cult of Chucky and the 2019 Child's Play remake. I will do a video discussing the Chucky series, so if you guys are interested in that, then let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. That's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you for visiting the channel and watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace!